Great. Thank you so much for having us, hosting us. For me, it's an interesting kind of deja vu. It's hard to believe about a dozen years ago when I first actually came to Music Matters in 2010, not here, but actually back in the day in Hong Kong. At that time, anything related to or regarding South Korean pop culture, aka Hallyu, for those of you who are Chinese language speakers, or the Korean wave, for those of you who require an English translation. South Korean pop culture was at most and at best a regional phenomena in and within Asia only. Now, when we fast forward to 2022, South Korean pop culture, especially in film, TV, and music, has achieved unprecedented breakthrough success at global awards, on global stages, and on global charts, not only across Asia, but more importantly, beyond Asia, via clicks, views, likes, follows, votes, and ... most importantly, sales from all around the world. Now, as a kind of a quick highlight reel, it's hard to believe just 2 years ago, Parasite, Gisengjung, was the first foreign language movie to ever win Best Picture at the Academy Awards. And then 2 quarters ago, BTS was not just the first Korean or Asian, but international music act ever to win the IFPI Global Recording Artist of the Year honors 2 years in a row, as K-pop acts secured 40% of the best-selling albums on the 2021 IFPI Top 20 Global Album Chart. And 2 weeks ago, when I was in LA, I had the pleasure to watch Squid Game become the first non-English TV series to not only be nominated, but also win major categories at the 2022 Emmy Awards by garnering first ever trophies for an Asian actor, Asian actress, and Asian director. And today, as our host was kindly to point out, Blackpink crushed it by being the first of just many records with their #1 debut. And in addition to their #1 debut on the Billboard chart, they have been shattering records as we speak on Spotify, YouTube, and charts all around the world. Now, how and why did South Korea, a country that is only ranked 107 in the world in land size, ranked number 28 in population, become, according to the 2021 Monocle magazine survey, the #2 soft power superpower in the world? Now, as much as some people think I have the answers, I actually don't. The one person that I think has crystal ball, maybe crystal balls, in this space and this area is actually Eugene Choi. This is a really terrible photo of him. He's much better looking in person. The reason I have to point the finger, sometimes the middle finger, to Eugene is he saw something in 2017 that nobody in the entertainment and media industry saw coming. When everybody was obsessed and focused on K-pop bands that started with a B, whether it was Blackpink or whether it was BTS as being that next big thing, Eugene found something on YouTube that he thought was going to be even bigger. He chased another B act, Baby Shark. Baby Shark, the all-time most viewed video on YouTube, is actually also from Korea. And Eugene was the one who tracked it down, hunted it down, locked it down, and helped make it the #1 most popular video of all time on YouTube. And so given his track record in basically trend spotting and essentially having sort of future-proof predictions as what's going to be the next big thing, we thought it was appropriate to bring him on stage to talk about what is going to be the next big thing coming out of Korea in the next few weeks, next few months, next few years. So without further ado, Eugene Choi.
Hello, everyone.
Now, Eugene, at Collab Asia, you and your team of digital marketing and promotion gurus have been collaborating with many of the top social media influencers in Asia, Korea, and around the world. Now, as a result, occupational hazard, you're pretty much privy to previewing a lot of the emerging trends before anyone I know sees it coming. So with that, for a lot of fanboys and fangirls of Korean pop culture, one interesting stat, and perhaps maybe even a startling fact, is the biggest Korean wave export is actually not film, it's not TV, and it's not music. It's actually video games, esports. video game exports are far and away the #1 Korean pop culture export. It's a $7.4 billion market, 5.8x times bigger than film, TV, music exports combined. So in this video gaming space, what are you seeing on the front lines with many of your influencers online that makes Korean videos not only so big, but getting bigger? What are you seeing out there?
So, Collab Asia, as Bernie mentioned, we've had the privilege of kind of having a front row seat as to what is bubbling up, and that's because we do work with a huge network of creators and influencers. Specific to Korea, I think what's worth noting is actually when it comes to gaming, actually what might even be bigger than the esports teams and the esports players and the games themselves are actually the streamers. So in Korea, actually, you've seen video game streamers streaming online since 2006. And so I would argue that when it comes to this online streaming culture, it is very advanced and well developed. And some of the things that we're seeing nowadays with some of the streamers in Korea are, just the level of interaction that they have with the fan base is, I would say, another level. You have these fans that are tipping these streamers, but what they're tipping, they're paying money to be able to create a meme and then throw that back, the meme starring the streamer and throwing it back to the streamers. So it's this very kind of meta, inside joke within an inside joke. Regardless of the game, whether it's a Korean game or Minecraft or PUBG, what we see with these streamers is that interactivity of how they're interacting with their fans and communities is playing itself out in very interesting ways.
If you can disclose among some of your top video game streamers, what kind of money are we talking about? How much are they pulling down per month? Because I was startled. I mean, I've heard numbers where essentially they're earning as much or more than not just pro esports athletes, but more than some pro athletes in Korea.
Yeah, I mean, some of our streamers are earning anywhere between $50,000 to even $100,000 a month, right?
A month?
A month, and that's steady. With some of these esports players, they might win a tournament, but then they might have a dry spell for 6 months, right? Meanwhile, the streamers that we work with, I mean, granted, they're streaming every day, almost every night, but they have that really consistent monthly income.
Now, the next question I have is, whether you're seeing it quantitatively or qualitatively, what do you see as sort of the tipping point trends that Korean pop culture tastemakers in the social media space are tipping off to their fans and followers around the world as the next big thing from Korea? So at the moment, what would you say, what would you tag, or what would you hashtag as the hottest trend coming out of Korea in the pop culture content space?
What we've been seeing are short-form video creators, right? Our top TikTokers, actually, their audience and fan base and views are coming from outside of Korea. And the way that they're taking some of the memes and the trends that are going on the internet and then remaking it themselves, and then they're actually furthering that virality. And I think that's only going to accelerate. Last week, as YouTube announced that they're going to have Shorts monetization, that is only going to accelerate short-form video creators. You're going to see more short-form video creators, and you're going to see them produce even more content. And now that with rumors that TikTok as well is also going to, probably compete in that regard, we're going to start to see more short-form video creators creating pieces of content that go viral and will go viral worldwide.
Now, one interesting story I heard was it was only recently that the whole meme culture actually emerged and evolved in Korea. And a lot of people, and again, you would be the best person to ask in terms of to verify and validate whether or not this is true or if it's an urban legend. But I've been told that it was Squid Game that essentially started the meme trend in Korea. When you saw these Squid Game memes emerging, tell us some of the best ones that you saw, and the minute you saw it, you're like, oh, this is going to blow the whatever up. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, actually, even before I saw Squid Game, I saw content creators on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube in Korea, basically parodying scenes from Squid Game And because we have access to so much data, we actually saw a lot of that viewership was happening overseas, right? So, it was these Korean creators taking something a show that's Korean, but then tailoring it to a more general, widespread audience. So just silly dances, and then, that song, if you guys remember, the Mugung, I don't want to sing it, but there are kids in Korea, I kid you not, there are kids in Korea that think that's like the national anthem because they've heard that song so many times. And yeah, I mean, it was just an astounding phenomenon.
Now, right now, when we look at the #1 show on Netflix worldwide, non-English, or the #1 film on Netflix worldwide, non-English, both from Korea, whether it's Narco Saints on the film side or whether it's the Extraordinary Attorney Woo on the TV series side. One of the interesting things is, yes, there's a lot of these original scripts, original concepts being produced into these hit TV shows and films, but one of the things that a lot of people outside of Korea, outside of Asia don't know is that a lot of these content creators are tapping into a very uniquely Korean IP goldmine called webtoons. Korea coined the phrase, they've copyrighted it, and it's going global. And so I was wondering, in the context of what you're doing, seeing, working with, and more importantly, I have to go there, but collaborating with the creators that you do, what is the impact and more importantly, the importance of webtoon IPs in what possibly maybe could be the next big thing coming out of Korea?
Yeah, as you mentioned, I mean, a lot of these hit shows that you're seeing trending on Netflix, some specific examples are Itaewon Class and Hellbound. That IP originated from a webtoon. And that's also why I think you're also seeing not only quality, but you're seeing quantity of all these series coming out on these services. Yeah, moving forward, I think we're going to continue to see more exciting IP. I mean, a lot of these webtoon companies, they consider themselves they think they're going to become the next Marvel, right? It is a treasure trove. These are entirely new universes that are being created right now. And now, given the interest in Korea, given the platforms like Netflix and other OTT streaming platforms, there is an opportunity and demand for this type of content.
Now, particularly in the social media space, as much as Korea is known for stuff that's super cool, super hip, super hype, there's a lot of stuff out there that's also super weird. And I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of it. There's a good chance you probably represent a lot of it. If we had to talk about some of the weirdest trends that you've seen come out of Korea on the content space, what would it be? And I have to go there. Why?
So I think for many years, you've probably seen in the news all over the world this trend called Mukbang. And what that means, it's people streaming online and they're eating these copious amounts of food and they're eating it live, right? And they also put the mic up to their mouth so you can hear them crunch and chew. And the reasons for doing that, some people say, well, I'm on a diet, I can't eat, I want to live vicariously and see someone else eat, right? So this has been going on for a couple years, and now you actually see a lot of YouTubers and streamers in America doing these mukbang, eating all sorts of food. The kind of the weirdest thing that I've seen recently is actually the opposite of that. It's people actually people chewing, let's say, a piece of meat for 5 to 7 minutes and eating small amounts of food, but then eating it very, very, very slowly. So it is like the complete opposite of what mukbang trend was.
So it goes from stuffing your face to eating as little as possible, as slowly as possible.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to drop the mic there. But in terms of sort of unexpected trends, one of the things that Korea is really known for is not only the embrace and acceptance of social media platforms, but also the tweaks and maybe even the hacks on some of these social media platforms where these social media platforms weren't originally intended or designed or structured to have this functionality. What are you seeing in this sort of social media hack space coming out of Korea that you think has the potential to spread?
So, all the platforms, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, they're all preparing their e-commerce shops and what have you. But what we've seen recently, and this is a trend with a lot of people, mostly like I would say housewives in their 30s and 40s, is actually what's called it's a play on words. It's called party people. So in Korean, to sell something is 팔다, and then they shortened it to say party people, as in party people. And so you have these influencers that do a live stream on Instagram at 8 o'clock. And what they're doing is they're showcasing their outfit of the day or some new product. And then there's a link in their bio saying, go here and you could purchase this product. And what's interesting is actually you can't even get the product. After they get the orders, then they manufacture it and then they distribute it. So not only is it a hack of how Instagram is being used in a way, but it's also a model of this direct-to-consumer DTC thing, which is interesting because there's so many startups out there that are trying to do this. And like I said, these platforms are all building in shopping capabilities. But meanwhile, you have the influencers doing it themselves, just using the simple live streaming function on Instagram.
Wow. So it's basically home shopping, Kickstarter, bundled, wrapped up all in one.
Yes.
Why 8 o'clock of all times? If you're party people, 8 o'clock seems a little early in the evening. What's up with 8?
Well, actually, so there's a couple of people that do this, and then they don't collaborate with each other per se, but purposely one person will do it at 8, and then someone else will do it at, like, let's say 8:30, and someone else will do it at 9. So then the crowds, they will actually migrate and jump from one live stream to another to another. So it's kind of this unspoken rule of, hey, let's create this programming schedule. And I guess 8 o'clock just happens to be the right amount of time after dinner, before you go to sleep, so you can actually hit maybe 3-4 different live streams before you turn in for the night.
And as we're winding down here, the last question I have, and this is really an opportunity for you to just absolutely, utterly shameless name drop. If you had to pick something, whether it's a person, a platform, a product, that we should be looking out for and betting big for 2023, aka what's going to be the next baby shark in your book, what would it be? Who would it be? What would it be?
So I think the most exciting thing that we see coming out of Korea in our business are these short-form video creators. What most people don't know is actually TikTok is popular all over the world, never really was huge in Korea. But we are seeing more and more TikTok creators that have garnered a huge following outside of Korea. And we've also seen them gain popularity on YouTube. So with these short-form video creators, plugging our own, like J-Cop and Octagon, for example, they have garnered millions, tens of millions of followers. In the case of Octagon, 44 million followers all over the world. And I think we're going to continue to see more short-form video creators coming out of Korea like them. But also, as I mentioned before, given what's going on in the short-form video space, we're going to see even more memes. And these Korean short-form creators are going to be able to take the trending K-pop music videos and the TV and the movies and create memes out of that, and that's going to probably go viral worldwide.
Wow. Thank you. We've run out of time, but we have enough time to ask 3 questions if anyone has any questions out there. The lights are so bright I can't see hands, so holler if you've got a question. Either we really impressed them or we really bored them. I don't see any hands. Okay, well, for whatever reason, if any of you have questions, hit us up at any of the parties, after parties, or after parties happening tonight and tomorrow. Thank you so much for your time, and more importantly, thank you, Eugene, for giving us a peek in terms of what is going to be the next big thing out of Korea.
Thank you.